Hi, this is Joe again with another review. And for the sake of this video, I'm going to be discussing a TV show. Now, my material when reviewing television shows. I'm going to be doing what I consider to be a classic 1980s cop show, which is ABC's T.J. Hooker, starring William Shatner. Of course, and Adrian Zemed introduced the world to Heather Locklear. Of course, this show, is ran for 4 years on ABC. And I also found out they also aired 1 year on CBS. One of those late night, Saturday night / Sunday morning, like extra long, like a short movie, it's a 75-minute film. Well, it ran for 75 minutes, but CBS used to do that in the early mid 80s. They used to take television shows and make like a mini movie. Like that's under an hour and a half, but I don't think most people saw those episodes. So at least remember seeing them. And you say no because it was on so late at night. Who the hell is going to be up in an hour? So, but they consider that to be like the quote unquote fifth season, which technically it wasn't because it was running pretty much the same time as the regular television series on ABC, well, at least a year afterwards. So, whatever. But those mini movie episodes did not star Adrian Zemed, who was on for the first 4 years when the show was on ABC. And then he had a contract dispute and decided not to be in those mini movie episodes that was on CBS. But the rest of the cast, pretty much, or at least the three other main characters, William Shatner, James Darren, who was Heather Locklear's TV partner, Jim Corrigan, and of course Heather Locklear, who played Stacy Sheridan. I forgot her last name for a minute. Partner on the show. Of course, T.J. Hooker was, of course, the first television series that William Shatner starred in, other than that certain little space program that he starred in back in the 1960s. I think it was called Star Trek. And this literally was his first television series since Star Trek. And it was a success for 4 years. And after 4 years, it surprisingly was canceled. And surprisingly, it had a pretty good run, considering the fact that T.J. Hooker was on Saturday night. Of course, he had two other successful television series that he had after T.J. Hooker, called The Love Boat and Fantasy Island. So ABC had a pretty good successful block on Saturday night, which is generally considered to be the worst night on television. Back in the show itself, of course, like I said earlier, T.J. Hooker stars William Shatner as the title character, T.J. Hooker, and he played like a veteran police officer who is started this new training program where new police recruits get actually physically trained out in the street with a training partner. And of course, there was an original TV movie which was about an hour and a half long, and it was up on YouTube. I don't know about right now, as I'm recording this video, but there are a couple of episodes that's already on YouTube. But probably eventually it's probably going to get blocked by these stupid copyright rules that's on YouTube by Universal. It's probably going to make a copyright claim with whatever episodes are up there will probably be taken down, which sucks. And YouTube probably to be change your format, okay? When it comes to copyright, I mean, it's probably a free site, and it's annoying the block shows. Anyway, I digress. And T.J. Hooker, of course, gets partnered with Vince Romano, played by Adrian Zemed, who was like a real young. He was the poster boy for the show. Other than, of course, Heather Locklear. I mean, all the girls were crazy about this guy, and he was just coming off being in the god-awful movie Grease 2, which came out the same year that T.J. Hooker starred, which was 1982. So it was hot. He was really hot off Grease 2, and he was on T.J. Hooker as a regular character. Of course, most of the adventures deal with the two of them. and of course, what I mean by a stereotypical cop show, that means is that at the beginning of every episode, there will be a crime that goes down, and T.J. Hooker and Romano, and usually you don't normally hear the word T.J. This is supposed to be for Thomas Jefferson, or Thomas. And I think it's actually I found out his name is actually Thomas Jackson for the famous Civil War soldier actually. But nobody actually really calls him T.J. on the show. Not even his ex-wife calls him T.J. Everybody calls him Hooker. I mean, after a while, he says, "What is this guy, a prostitute or something?" That's really the joke that everybody calls him Hooker. Nobody really calls him by T.J. Once in a blue moon, like maybe once every 2 years or something, somebody would call him TJ or something like that. But most of the time, it's Hooker. And of course they get a call, and the call number was like 4M30. Of course, actually they couldn't use 4M12 or AM12 because that was the name of the call in another famous cop television series. So they call 4M30 and they get called. It's always usually them who gets calls, and they of course try to solve the murder or rape or gang of robbers going around robbing banks or jewelry stores or liquor stores or pawn shops, but of course by the end of the series or the end of the episode, they always get caught. Of course, one of the first episode, and actually I think it was the first episode after the TV movie, was a guy who was attacking women in parking lots. He always needs a Bible. They call him the Bible mugger, and Hooker gets roped in to carry around a TV news reporter, following him around all over the place, trying to catch this killer. A mugger. But then, of course, there's one story where a woman got so excited she was taking her heart medication, but it spilled all over the floor. She was so nervous, and spilled all over the floor. She died of a heart attack. So now he upped it to murder. Now he's going to be facing murder charges. This guy, and of course, just about every episode of TJ, he always William Shatner does, and he was in his 50s right by that time. And of course, 1982, when T.J. Hooker started, was a big year for William Shatner because that was when Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, came out. So of course, The Wrath of Khan was one of the biggest money-making movies in 1982, and now you have and it was riding the wave from Star Trek II for a television series. And that's when the TV series became such a big hit because people want to watch him because he was just in the biggest summer blockbuster, which was Star Trek 2. Anyway, he always runs after the suspect. He usually has at least one foot chase scene in every episode. And Romano's the younger guy, he's the more fit guy, and William Shatner was 50 years old already. He was about 51 years old when the series started. So they always have William Shatner running after the suspect on foot. And with Romano chasing him, backing up Hooker in the car, and on the police car, and someone blocking the run, and he falls on top of the car, and and the villain gets arrested. I mean, that happens with almost just about every episode. Almost every episode, you have a scene like that, and that got to be kind of a joke. But of course, one of the better episodes of the series is when you had Leonard Nimoy. Story on an episode where his daughter got raped, or Leonard Nimoy's daughter on the show gets raped, and of course he goes nuts and goes after the rapist and nearly kills his daughter's rapist. This is one of and I think also Leonard Nimoy also directed that episode as well. I think also William Shatner also directed a couple of episodes, but I think it was on the 75-minute version of it. Of course, like I said earlier, the show also introduced Heather. I shouldn't forget Heather Locklear. She brought the show some sex appeal. Of course, one of the first time that she went undercover was an episode where there was this guy who was attacking specifically blondes. and there was one blonde who was a cop who was killed, raped, but killed by this guy. So Stacy says, "Hey, when I go undercover," he says, I'm a blonde. Duh, hello. She went undercover, and there was this famous scene. I think that scene is on YouTube, where she's in a bikini and she's laying on a beach. The first time you actually see her in a bikini was in this episode. I don't know if she did any bikini scenes on Dynasty because I never really watched it. But Heather Locklear eventually got a job on Dynasty as well, and she was on both shows at the same time. Luckily, both shows were produced by Aaron Spelling, number one, and number two, both shows were an ABC show. So it was a little bit easier for her to do both shows at the same time. Even though it was hard because she was going from one set to the other and vice versa. But at first, when Heather Locklear was first on the show, she only did like maybe a couple of bit scenes. She wasn't really the main character or main character to the third season, where she was teamed up with James Darren, who was famous for being in those Gidget movies back in the 60s, and he was also known as a singer, which he did about a decade or so later when he was on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So ironically, you had William Shatner, who was the king of Star Trek, and James Darren, who was on one of the spin-off Star Trek shows. Anyway, one more hard episodes to watch was one episode where Stacy, who had a Locklear character, gets shot, and she almost dies. Literally, she almost dies, and it was heartbreaking. And the rest of the three officers there, Romano, Hooker, and Jim Corrigan, who was a James Darren character, was trying to find, the people who were using cop killers, with armor-piercing bullets that would go through a bulletproof vest. I should also mention one of the episodes that actually is on YouTube, which is titled called Empty Gun. It's when a fellow training officer gets killed, and Romano knew that the killer took the dead officer's gun. And Romano also counted how many shots the guy used. He used 6 shots, which because most cops at that time in the early 80s were using six shooters instead of the a 15 magazine clip or whatever like they do today. So he counted, he used up all the bullets. So he knew the gun was empty and never shot or killed the criminal. And of course, there was a guy, Herbert Jefferson was the actor's name. He was on Battlestar Galactica, actually. He starred in this episode, the original Battlestar Galactica. And he was chewing on Romano for not killing this guy. And he says, don't expect me to back you up. And then Hooker said, don't you ever threaten not to back up a fellow officer. And Romano did his job, and you're about this close for losing your job. And don't you ever threaten to not back up another officer. Because if you do, we're going to, report you if you don't back up Romano or anybody else. And he goes, okay. and he backs. He reluctantly says, "Oh, okay," and he backs off. They did have good episodes in this show. You also had a couple of future All My Children actors who appeared on this show. One who played Jeremy Hunter on All My Children played a thief who nearly killed Hooker's ex-wife, or shot Hooker's ex-wife. And you also had Sidney Penny, who played Julia Santos on All My Children. At that time, she was about maybe 11 or 12-year-old girl. And, she played Raises Pigeons in an episode. So it's kind of interesting seeing people before there were stars on T.J. Hooker. It's kind of little fun trivia for people. But like I said, the show that did last 4 years, and it was, I don't see there was no one bad episode. And it was not a bad show. Of course, by the time the series had ended, there was another popular television show, cop show, the end of Saturday nights. That also had a very good long run, and that was Hunter. And maybe Future's on the line, maybe we can do a review on Hunter. But for T.J. Hooker, it's definitely one of the best cop shows ever. And whatever episodes it's on YouTube, and so full episodes, Please check them out. It's worth sitting there for 45 to 50 minutes. It's worth watching because the show is that good. And of course, you can also argue that William Shatner was hamming it up as an actor, but it's worth watching the show T.J. Hooker. Well, that's my review of the show T.J. Hooker. Please click on the video. Please rate it. Feel free to comment on it. Please subscribe to my channel and please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. You can watch all my videos on my YouTube channel at rowdyc.com. That's all WDY.com. There's a homepage of the Rowdy Reviewer, Christy Moore. You can also follow me on Facebook and on Twitter. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.